Mike Okwe Jr. He's a legal practitioner, but also a member of the MPP's communication team. Is here. And
of communication.
Okay. So director of communications for the MPP. Oh, nearly reduced your post.
No, don't worry. No, I was just joking.
Okay.
We're all members of the communications team. So,
okay.
Good morning to you and to your viewers.
Thank you. And also a legal practitioner, member of the NDC's legal team is Abraham Malba. Thanks for joining me, sir.
Thank you.
Somebody told me you become wild these days. Wow. I told the person, well, the election is approaching, so sometimes you have to get into mainstream politics.
Wild,
but Malba is always in wild.
Wild means what?
So usually you don't do the politicking. But
sure. Then you didn't know him.
Okay. We know that the current subject that has gripped the nation is the president's decision to release or remit the rest of the sentence for the Muntie 3. And as a result of that, by this very Friday, we expect them to be out of the prisons. I'm sure it's going to be a massive show of support from their supporters or those who tend to listen to Muntie FM, so to speak. But I would first want to ask you, the president has come under some barrage of criticism as a result of the decision he took. Abraham Maliba, your views on this very subject?
Let me say good morning to your viewers. The criticisms are coming from the opponents of the president. You need to know and find out who is criticizing. Find out first who is that person criticizing, and you know that it's the opponent. These are the same people who were telling the president not to mind those who were petitioning. These were the same people. These are the same people who don't see anything good about the president, but from nowhere became the president's friend and were now advising the president not to grant the three Muntie people any remission. Point is, has the president erred in remitting their sentences? And I'm speaking law, but not emotions. The president performed his constitutional duty to remit the remaining sentence, which was done in accordance with law. Anybody who criticizes the president must show me which part of the Constitution was breached. If you cannot show me which part of the Constitution was breached, you shut up. Because we are not speaking about emotions. We are a country of laws. And once the law has been followed to the letter, the president has not erred. I've heard our opponents indicate that they are disappointed in the president. And I asked the question. They were the same people who said that if the president exercises Article 72, the president will lose the elections. The question is, shouldn't they rather be celebrating, knowing that the way is now clear for them to now win the elections? Why are they disappointed in the president? They should rather be celebrating, jubilating, that come December 7th, they will now be winning the elections. So I think that those who are criticizing the president are the opponents of the president. But the president has not, under any circumstances, disobeyed the Constitution. What he has done is within the Constitution. Indeed, this president has exercised this power under this regime in favor of one Adamu Sakande, who was an MPP MP. At that time, they did not criticize him, but this time they are criticizing him. I think that it smacks of politics than rather what the law says.
Your view, sir?
Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity. If I may start by saying a very good morning to yourself for having us here, and to my brother on the other side, Amaliba, as well. The Constitution is an entire document, and you cannot pick and choose where and what to apply. Now, as much as you can adhere to an article in the Constitution, there are what we call checks and balances within it. So despite the discretionary right of the president to exercise his power of invocation under Article 72, there's also another article, which is Article 296. And Article 296 states that, and with your kind permission to read. Where in this Constitution or in any other law discretionary power is vested in any person or authority, including the President, that discretionary power shall be deemed to imply a duty to be fair, candid. The exercise of the discretionary power shall not be arbitrary, capricious, or biased. So you can exercise that right as long as it is not capricious or biased. And we are saying that the exercise of this right was biased.
Why?
When he gave the example, first of all, of Adamu Sakande, he also did not give the example of Chachu Chikata, who was an NDC member who was pardoned. Nobody complained about that because it was an issue of old age and not well, if you remember very well. And I remember, I think it was either your show, I was on with Alex Segwithia, and Mr. Chikata was sick, and we were supposed to comment on Mr. Chikata. And I said, out of respect of Mr. Chikata's condition, I wouldn't want to do a critique of a man who is lying on a hospital bed. And so I will withdraw my comments. And so Alex Segwithia even mentioned a few things, and he himself stopped. That's the kind of respect we have for Ghanaians, whether you are NDC member or not. We should learn to love thy neighbor as thyself. In this case, the Muntie Tre, unlike Adamu Sakande, who was also pardoned on health grounds, the man was to the point where the medical association, the prison service, they couldn't even afford his drugs anymore. They couldn't take care of him anymore. He was so sick. I don't know if you met him afterwards. He virtually stands and is shaking. Can't even talk properly. He can't put 4 sentences together.
He'd been sick. Yes.
And he was pardoned. This is not the case with the Muntie Tre. They don't have old age and they are not sick. And in any case, there's 3 of them. So what you can do is you pardon one on health grounds. You can't pardon all 3. Because all 3 means there's a joint enterprise. What is it that joins them together? The joint enterprise is that they spoke for and on behalf of NDC and President John Mahama. And so as a reward, they will be taken out of prison to say, well done, boys. Sorry you went in for a few days, but I won't let you spend the rest of the judgment. Now, in that case, we have a situation of direct confrontation of contempt of the judiciary. Because where we have the Supreme Court being interfered with, my brother is a lawyer. He even knows that according to our own constitution, if you look at issues of enactment, for example, it talks about when it comes to this constitution, enactment involves statute and it involves decree. Now, let us look at the National Redemption Council decree, i.e. Prison Service Act 1972. Section 34, remission for good conduct. Now you know that the Constitution itself, there are sub-legislation that are done to guide on specifics that have not been given in the Constitution. Now with your kind permission, it says here, remission for good conduct under section 34. Then it goes on to say, under subsection 3, this section shall not apply in the case of a prisoner who is, an example is here, D, committed to prison for contempt of court. You see, this is an offense that is so serious, of such a grave nature, that even military dictators, and the law still applies, as he knows. When it comes to contempt of court, there will be no remission. And yet, President John Mahama has gone to give remission for someone who was jailed for contempt. And what my friends and brothers on the other side, I'm very surprised that Mr. Maleba, who knows the senior most lawyer of the president, you know him, It's a Tony Lita. Yes.
And his comment or his position.
What did he tell the president? He put aside party colors and he advised the president in his own interest. He says, President Maham, Kafe Nakai. Kafe Nakai. If you do that, there will be problems because it will be collateral damage. Maliba wasn't listening. Are all of us sitting here? Tony Lita is a senior. Not just a senior, he's also the president's lawyer. The president's lawyer advises him, and you don't allow him to take that advice. And then rather under a charade of, let us say what he's doing is right, and then let us sign the petition. You go and sign petition and put the president under that kind of pressure. And that's why eminent Ghanaians, some of whom include, and I'll just mention quickly, the moderator of the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church.
Who is that?
That is Reverend Professor Mate.
The current moderator.
Yes. The chairman of the National Peace Council, the whole Ghana, Asumdwe Council. He says, it is most unfortunate for NDC activists to put pressure on President Mahama. You don't want peace? Then even the Presbyterian moderator, he says, those seeking for the release of the convicts are nation wreckers.
So President Mahama is nation.
What he's doing could amount to wrecking the nation. It could amount to
because we have the Presbyterian moderator saying
no, I'm just giving because these are opinion leaders, senior opinion leaders. Some of them more senior even to the president. You see, maybe I think that even the Council of State is reconstituted.
Why?
Because you know that by the 10 regions, we have elected people there. We have 11 appointed by the president and another 4 appointed by the president. So already you have what we call 16 to 10. And let's say those people voted, half are yours, half are somewhere else.
But it's not unfamiliar or unpeculiar.
You don't understand what I'm saying. I'm saying that is even something we should look at. It's another subject matter. How we constitute.
Just because the president had decided to remit the sentences of all these.
It's not just because.
So we need to take a look at.
He cannot just decide.
The way we constitute them.
And now the president, after he has done what he did, according to 296, the president can be sent to the Supreme Court to interpret whether his discretionary power was used in accordance of fair, candid, arbitrary bias. So is that what we are looking at the moment? You see, these are the issues that I want to conclude on that. They are so dire, they are so serious, that you do not want to be seen to be confronting the judiciary when it comes to contempt, because that is a law that is in their bosom. And I'm going to read that act too after you've come to the second round.
And then we've had Dr. Indum saying that this is the worst decision ever taken by a leader since independence.
Let me state categorically that Tony Lita, who is part of the legal team of the NDC, sat in a meeting, which I was part of it, and we gave a clean bill of health to what the president did. So
on the quiet. But what came public?
So he shouldn't sit here and make it look like.
But he made a public statement.
And I'm saying that I'm now telling you something. You either take it or you don't want to take it. I'm telling you something.
Okay.
That this decision that the president arrived at was presented to the legal team of the NDC. Tony Lita is part of the NDC legal team, and we gave a clean bill of health to it. If you want, you can take what he said first, or you want to take what I'm saying.
Okay. So the
now,
decision,
the point
that
is
second one, or
I'm saying that we gave a clean bill of health to what the president did on 2 days ago.
So that was 2 days ago. Okay.
Now,
Dr.
he talks about Article 269. Where in this?
Not 269, 296.
296. Where in this can one say that the decision taken by the president was capricious, was not fair, and all those elements? Where? Where does it show?
Well, in their estimation.
The circumstances under which some prisoners are released by activating Article 72 must not be the same for everybody.
Well,
if the fact that you were released based on poor health
shouldn't apply to me.
Does not mean that if the president is going to activate 72, in my case too, it should be poor health.
Boss, let's have a conversation.
No.
So what is the case? Because
Let me talk.
hash cannot be a
Let
case.
me talk. Let me talk.
When you were talking, he didn't.
I'm just giving us.
You can interfere with this man. It's okay.
Just a small session.
No. It's okay.
Oh, Aliba, it's part of a debate that somebody
what-
can
what-
interrupt.
Oh,
You
just
don't
let
have to
him
be-
talk.
I have
No,
just,
it doesn't have
I
to
have
be
just
emotional.
paused. I have just paused for you to take your,
Okay.
and then I'll come back.
So I'm saying that the criteria of hash cannot be one of the ways that President John Maham measure it.
Okay.
Never.
Well, to disappoint him, the statement that came out never said the sentence was harsh. He should go back and read it.
Is
The
that not
statement indicated that on compassionate grounds. Nowhere did the president indicate it was harsh.
So who is having the compassion for who? The president?
The president was doing this, remitting the sentence on compassionate grounds.
So the president
The
thought-
president never said the sentence was harsh. So don't borrow words and go and look for extraneous words and come and supplant
Does it mean that
it.
the president thought that maybe the judges were not compassionate enough for him?
Article 72 has been provided for the president to activate. The same constitution that gave the president the power to activate 72 is the same constitution that also gave the power to the Supreme Court to convict. The president has ensured that the judicial process came to an end. He did not interfere with the work of the judiciary. Unlike some presidents who appointed judges to go and overturn an ongoing matter.
Well, that's the perception.
That one is what we call interference, where you appoint a friend to go when there's an ongoing matter.
That's again a perception.
I'm saying that when there's an ongoing matter,
because again,
then
that
you
president
appoint,
had the rights
then
based
you
on the Constitution.
appoint a judge to go in there to get you a certain result. That is interference. But in this one, the president ensured that the judicial process came to an end, and then he then activated his 72.
So you're arguing there could be no case of argument for interference?
There is no interference. Now he's citing the Prisons Act. For God's sake, how can somebody who is a lawyer be comparing an act of parliament or a decree to a constitution? Saying that when you look at the Prisons Act, it gives guidelines as to how to activate a remission. The Constitution, Article 72, does not provide what circumstances must exist before you can activate 72.
Before the president can.
What you are talking about is an act of parliament which cannot supersede what the Constitution is saying. The Constitution is very clear. 72 indicates that the president may, in consultation with the Council of State, do the following. The president, in his wisdom, from the advice of the Council of State, did not pardon them, because pardon would have meant that the disabilities the disabilities that they were suffering from would have been taken away. So the conviction would have been taken away, the sentence would have been taken away, which the president has the power to do anyway, but decided to remit. So even if they come out tomorrow, they will still have those convictions hanging around their necks. Come to think of it, this is the highest, even if they come out tomorrow, this is the highest conviction in recent memory of any contempt matter, even if they come out tomorrow. In recent memory, what we had was just 10 days. In recent memory, what we had was 5,000 cedis. In this one, they are coming out, spending 1 month, and spending 10,000. That is 100 million, as compared to 5,000
each.
If this is not enough punishment, what punishment do you want again? But let me tell you, I know what the NPP is not comfortable about.
Which is?
The whole thing is about Mugabe. Mugabe has used his airwaves to expose Nana Akufo-Addo's shortfalls. And on every afternoon, Nana Akufo-Addo is being exposed on a daily basis. That is how come...
You are not saying that what the criticism against the presenter Mugabe is unfair or is fair in other ways?
Or
you're not saying that what he does is very ethical and fair journalism?
Why? If somebody wants to become your leader, don't you need to know whether he's conducting himself well? If somebody wants to lead you in this country, it is fair to know how that person conducts himself. What is unfair about that?
Do you listen to some of the things he says?
I'm saying that if Nana Akufo-Addo is on his tour and falls down, and he says that he has fallen down, what is unethical about it?
I see.
So I think that because Mugabe has been a thorn in their flesh, that is why they are so much interested in him remaining in prison. But the fact of the matter still remains. This article, which has been activated by all presidents, and the circumstances have never been the same.
Is Mugabe a member of the NDC?
Mugabe has never been a member of the NDC, and he has said that severally. And the circumstances under which 72 is being activated, it has never been the same. And you cannot, under any circumstance, when Rawlings activated 72 in favor of Kwame Mpieni, it was not because Kwame Mpieni was sick, as he wants us to understand, that because Chikata was sick. And so the circumstances have never been the same and will never be the same. When Kufuor activated that 72 in favor of G-Man, it was not because G-Man was sick. In fact, G-Man was healthy. G-Man was playing drums. He was leading musicians in the
He was even preaching.
He was even preaching. So I want to debunk his argument.
Souls
I want to debunk his argument that
G-Man is dead.
The circumstances.
When?
We are told it's in the US.
It's not dead.
Okay.
You see, the circumstances will never be the same. Okay. That power has been given to the president to use it, and he's used it, and never to say that you must be sick before it can be activated.
But shortly,
thank you.
What do you say about Dr. Indum's comments that this is a worst decision ever taken by any president? And in what context would you also situate this very one? We just do it for 2 minutes and then we'll move on.
Okay, thank you very much. I agree totally with Dr. Pakwesi Indom that President John Mahama is the worst president that Ghana has ever seen. Look, there was this joke.
That's not what he said. He said it's the worst decision taken. He didn't say he's the worst president.
I added that the worst president, his decisions also show. You see, one thing we refuse to notice, I remember one Professor Kakari, Media Foundation West Africa. He said, if President John Mahama is a serious president, he will ignore pardoning these people, because you know he is very much in tandem with
press freedom and ethical journalism.
Then one Atu Kwame Nadazi wrote on his Facebook wall.
Who?
Atu Kwame Nadazi. I'm sure you may know him.
The journalist?
Yes.
Okay.
He said, if they are saying that it is only a serious president who won't do this, then John Mahama will do it. Lo and behold, his prophecy has come to pass. You see that Ghanaians are not taking President John Mahama seriously.
Who are the Ghanaians?
Ghanaians, Professor Kakari.
Nadazi and Professor, they are an embodiment of...
I'm giving you examples
of Ghanaians.
Because when he said it, and Atu didn't agree, for example, and then it came to pass, it's different. He prophesied. So today, President John Mahama has got the tag of worst decision maker ever, worst president ever, not a serious president. All these tags, they are going to follow President John Mahama into the grave from his decision.
Is that not insulting if you say that he's not a serious president?
Oh, I don't see how, if he said that, it's insulting. If it's not serious, they're saying that he should take issues serious. I don't see how Professor Kakai, of all people who insult President John Mahama, is not possible.
Because I'm asking you, even to the point where, for this whole narrative, you're also reiterating it.
Oh,
it means that you consider the president not to be serious?
Well, you just quoted, for example, Dr. Pakwesi Indom. Does that mean you think Dr. Pakwesi Indom, what he said is what you agree with?
In the context of this, I was asking a question.
Exactly. So I'm also saying that in the context of what he said, I also agree with him.
Okay.
It doesn't mean that I'm the one saying it. But he said Mugabe is not a member of NDC. Okay. Let's grant him that. But you're also aware that Mugabe said on air that he left England to come and work for President John Mahama, and that his aim and ambition is to do anything that will make President John Mahama president.
It doesn't make him a member of the NDC.
I'm coming. No. Motive. Don't we know about mens rea for a crime?
And mens rea means that he's a member of NDC.
No.
But motive is not criteria for getting membership.
I'm surprised.
That motive means that
let's make his
member of
comment.
Do you remember I said we grant him that? That he's not a member of the NDC. But his motive, his ambition, his life goal is to make President Mahama president. What's the difference between him and Amaleba? There's no difference. He is NDC member. He wants President John Mahama to be president.
There are sharp differences. One is a member, one is not.
No, I'm saying that.
You don't think those are different?
I grant him that he's not a member. I've said that.
Okay.
So I said granted. Or you want me to put it in?
No, you said
okay,
what is the difference? You said what's the difference?
No. Let me put it in clear language. I'm saying that we grant him that he's not a member, but his lifelong ambition is to make President
Please wrap up
John
for
Mahama,
me. Let me move on to the next subject.
No matter what. And you know what's so painful? He said he's left his wife and children
How
in
can
England.
that be painful? People have left their wives and children
wait.
and come home.
My wife and children are here. I know your wife and children are here in Ghana. But you come to Ghana to come and talk what they say in Twi, Kasefi, bad talk.
The one that Akufo-Addo falls
and then,
down, he says
I thought you tell him to keep quiet as I talk.
Is that the
Please
Kasafi?
let him.
When
Thank
Akufo-Addo falls,
Let-
it says, is that Kasafi?
Let him talk.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, if this is the kind of thing that he wants to come and do, but you are telling us Ghanaians that your wife and child are in England, but you are in Ghana creating trouble, Ghanaians should listen to him and say that Mugabe ye Ethiopian because with the confusion about Ghana. Now he goes on to say something about the fact that the Act of Parliament is not something that is the same equivalent of the Constitution. I'm surprised. Do you know that apart from the Constitution, we even have our legislative instruments, Constitution, they all support the Constitution because you see, the Constitution, wait, yes, but the Constitution cannot break down everything. So it has broken it down when it comes to Acts of Parliament. Remember, I read to you before that.
I guess
that
you're
includes,
talking about which one supersedes.
No. You see,
And
the
when it
Constitution
comes to
has
the
not said, hold on, the Constitution has not said that when it comes to remission, okay, contempt is part of it. Then you say that, but Act of Parliament has changed it. Constitution says you can do remission. Okay, it is said there. Then the Act has given you the stages and types of remission that can be pardoned and the ones that cannot be pardoned.
Commission
So I'm very